we're going to go towards the foreground now and attack it again. So autopilot there, and these ones are firing out a little bit more, and they have got a much better knockback than the the mass drivers. Now, if you notice, they're really knocking the foreground around when I'm hitting with them, which is quite a lot of fun, and I'm still critting a decent amount of the time. So it's like they've got a slower firing rate, but they have a much better knockback. So that's kind of the trade-off that we're getting. And they're actually quite a significantly decent weapon. And, I mean, if we go, for example, for the big green, we're going to notice that we can also basically batter the big green around with them as well, spam him around, and generally push the big green around, which is quite a lot of fun. Now, I'm going with Phunka because this one's not particularly strong. Light Fighter is not good for the Berserker class anyway, but it's just an example of the effectiveness of physical weapons. And there are some AI which are in the completely opposite direction of the universe, which are also affected quite well by these. So, for example, I believe the Basil AIs are very easy to destroy with physical weapons. So we're just going to go and hunt some of those down. Now, in terms of the different damage types, I'd say physical is one of the least effective damage types in the game. You have a huge amount of enemies which have resistances to it, so I wouldn't recommend physical unless, of course, you're playing as a sniper. Sniper, I believe, still has bonuses for physical type weapons, although the bonuses are not worth actually going with a physical type weapon. So anyway, we're going to the other side of the universe, and we're going to hunt down some AI that are actually weak against physical. So basically, it's kind of like a Pokemon thing. There are certain AIs which are weaker against different damage type, which is quite useful. But I wouldn't say physical's really that useful. Of all the damage types, it's definitely one of the weakest within the game, and I do reckon that they need to add something to make physical a lot more appealing to people, because at the moment it's really not that appealing a damage type. So where are we? Do we have we've got Rosemary's. I believe that they have a weakness to physical, so we're just going to attack the Rosemary, and we're going to see whether or not we can take it out. Now, the damage of this craft is not particularly high. I'm on 6.4 k DPS, which is particularly low, and yet I'm still able to take Rosemary's out relatively easily with the Berserker class, which is not built for Light Fighter. So it's not really a bad sort of damage type, and I can use it to get away from the enemy quite quickly, which is quite good. I'm also not using a speed shield just because I'm lazy and I want to get around the map faster. Now, if we go for mass drivers, I believe I do more damage with these guys actually. So we're just going to equip those, and we're going to go and check. Yep, 7k DPS, which is pretty solid. And we're going to open attack on the Puerto Rican ship here. So we're going to basically just go in for it. The problem is I'm actually doing less damage with the mass drivers because I'm not hitting as much, because the accuracy is not quite as efficient with this setup. However, you're getting an idea of the effectiveness of physical weapons, which is quite low. The only thing which is really good is if you had an augmenter on you which gave you a high level of critical hit, the physical weapon can be quite efficient when you've got rapid fire, because it'll make the AI spin around and around and around in a circle and make it pretty much unable to do anything. Anyway, that's been my little foray into physical weapons. I hope it's been helpful, and I'll catch you next time. Bye!